Give me a moment. I want to double check and make sure. And then we are going to get everything set up for this paint and chat. Welcome to Kalari's Craft and Chat, where I 3D craft items and then I give my opinion on things. So we are going to get ready to get this started. Today's project is going to be this mini Victorian house. I will show you up close in just a moment. I want to make sure that I am actually live. And yep, it looks like I am definitely live. I'm not even going to get it started up. That's all I wanted to do. But we have a lot to talk about. As the title said, no sympathy or moral kidnapping allowed here. And I think pretty much people can tell what this is about without me having to really say it. But I'm going to go into detail in just a moment because the whole idea of what's been going on in the news has already been frustrating. But to watch people treat this, and let me get my time lapse thing back to where I had it. I was just going to show you a quick thing of our Elegoo printer in action and then have it focus on the things that I'm going to be painting today. Come on. Okay, it wants to act up. Give me just a moment. There we go. And of course, I showed my show notes because I like to be prepared. Hey, Red Baron. And that's been crazy because lately I fought a cold, and then Friday and Saturday last week we had to renovate both our bedrooms and kiddos' bedroom. So our bedroom and kiddos' bedrooms are done, and now I can hopefully have a week of getting this done. But welcome to the chat. We're about to get this started. I just wanted to get the video of our Elegoo in action. It takes time lapse videos of our printed stuff, and today we are going to be doing this Victorian model house while we discuss the obvious elephant in the room of Charlie Kirk's death. I'm not going to call it untimely demise because, quite frankly, he predicted his own death. He's literally quoted as saying, and I had a friend send me the text on the day that it happened, that this was the guy that pretty much said that school shootings and shootings in general, gun violence and death, was an unfortunate necessity to protect the Second Amendment. So he literally had a bit of karma, and a lot of us had Schadenfreude, but now we've got these weird O's trying to morally kidnap us and tell us that it's not right to feel the way we do about this awful man and his awful attitude being dead. So I am gonna get ready because I gotta put some painter's tape along the windows and stuff that I don't want to get marked up. And then we're gonna start painting this baby while, unpacking the problematic behaviors of Charlie Kirk before he passed, and why I have no sympathy for him. And I am over people morally kidnapping those of us. Thank you so much. The Elegoo really does print out amazingly detailed models. And I cannot wait to get this painted properly. Because as you can see, the details just in the front, even the little door on the house, it is really, really nice. And I'm excited to get it painted. But I'm going to try as hard as I can not to mix too much of the colors. We're going to go with blue. That's what Axiom's, it's one of his favorite colors. And when I suggested it, his eyes lit up. So we're going to get the windows and stuff taped so that we can try not to get too much overlap of the paints before we get started. Because I want the trim to pop off from the actual color. So we are taping strategic points on here so that we can try not to have too much overlap. And this is just a little trick that while he was doing models and I would watch him, I learned and watched him do, and it does work out to a certain extent. Especially with me, because sometimes my hands will shake. I do take certain meds that can cause those issues, and because of that, I'm very self-conscious about how I paint. But it is okay. This chat is for everybody with all their stuff. And once again, Red Baron, thank you for sitting in. We're going to get ready to get started on this and talk about why moral kidnapping is not allowed here. But, let me show you, because I was working on this, and I told you I would do it off because it was such a big job. This is the Mega Man X that I finished for Axiom Wolf. He loves it. I took it down from the display he had it on because I just wanted to show the features and the details that we did. We also have the finished model of my father-in-law's present. Slide my chair over and show off this. I still don't think the light does it justice, though, to show the level green that he wanted it. We've got the sides, the windows painted, the back lights up because of the glow-in-the-dark green. I think we did a pretty good job. And with his mother's birthday coming up, though I'm not sure if she wants to paint it yet. She doesn't even know I made it. It's just like a figurine, almost like a Precious Moments doll, but, 3D printed. I think she's going to like it. Her birthday's in a few days. I'm telling you, Mega Man is such a big part of our household. Even his Axiom Wolf is Mega Man inspired. So I was excited to get that printed and painted for him. And it's just been nice and relaxing to get this kind of stuff done. But a friend of mine, Leona, asked what kind of paints we use. And currently we just use basic model paints that Axiom Wolf can pick up from work. And it does really good. So we're going to use this blue. And I've got my little painter plate. And we also did a mini version of this house too. This one I'm going to probably paint and put in my friend's box. He has a little shop and he's selling our 3D prints. Also going to have a little bit of gray in for the roof because I think it'll contrast really nice. I also 3D printed this paint holding caddy. I've got a set of 3 so far in black and gray because we have a lot of paints. Because we constantly paint models even before we started printing our own. The other one's kind of big, so I'm not going to move that one. It holds way more paints. I'm going to do some red in here too for the roofs. I think I was going to do black for the actual chimney and some accents. And I was going to do slate gray. There we go. For the actual windows so that they pop. And we may or may not get all of this done in one session, but I'm going to try my best. So as you can see, these are the colors I will be using today. And the paint cam is already focused. I shouldn't need more than this because this paint spreads very well. And we will be using our toothpicks too, as well as our brushes. You've got the whole set already. But as I start to paint, I am going to express that while I don't believe anybody should be assassinated, and I have seen too much of it between school shootings, political rally shootings, movie theater shootings, grocery store shootings. As somebody who considers myself as a child that was raised with gun training, because we have military family who was taught that a gun is not a toy. You use it for one purpose. I always took gun ownership seriously. My husband is a gun owner. And I feel like it protects us out here to have them, but they are safely stored and secured in a gun safe. Because with my mental health issues, I don't want easy access to something I know is a quick, efficient way to do harm. And what irks me about everybody lately trying to morally kidnap others to feel bad for a man who spent 30 plus years of his life being an awful person, who his whole Turning Point USA brand was just a way to be openly racist, bigoted, and sexist, and not to mention homophobic. It is inherently frustrating to me to watch people try to change up who Charlie Kirk was. So we're going to pop this video down for now for just a moment and bring up this from The Advocate. That's going to be the first thing we talk about. It said, did Charlie Kirk say stoning gay people was the perfect law, and these other heinous quotes? And there are a lot of heinous quotes from this man. So let's scroll on down here if I can. Come on, work with me. There we go. These are some of the worst comments about LGBTQ plus people made by Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk is a conservative podcaster who founded Turning Point USA. He died after being shot while hosting one of his Prove Me Wrong debates at Utah Valley University on Wednesday of last week. Authorities said Friday that they had identified and arrested 22-year-old shooter Tyler Robinson in relating to the shooting. And I'm going to be 100% honest with you guys. I was definitely grateful that it wasn't somebody that this administration could even try to call an immigrant, simply because they have been the scapegoats and the people that Trump and his ilk have been trying to blame for all the ills in our country since his first term back in 2016 to 2021. And it was really refreshing to me that he couldn't pin this on at least immigrants. But now there's a lie and rhetoric because they really want to start civil conflict, because a lot of us Dems are just mentally checked out right now. We just don't want to deal with people who should be gloating because they won, but want to pick fights with us. They keep trying to say, well, it's a radical left thing. Everything that has come out about this young man so far has shown that he was definitely not left or leftist or anything like that. He, matter of fact, thought Charlie wasn't right-wing enough from everything that has been coming out. And he also had some very ugly things to say about the LGBTQ plus community. One of his bullet casings had a very disgusting thing about being gay on it. So before anybody tries to run with, even though you can't really stop his fervent supporters from running with the lie, as you can see, this blue is really going to pop. There is absolutely no proof that this young man had any political affiliations with Democrats, the left, or anything like that. But you've got these people that want to run with that narrative because they want to cause internal strife. Because internal strife justifies the dumbass continuously abusing our National Guard and other military entities to come into private states and inflict martial law. And I hope that our people continue to ignore this obvious bait and move on. Because it's one dead, awful bigot. But to continue with this article, it said that Kirk 31 rose to prominence in 2016 when Trump was first running for president, frequently making media appearances to campaign for him. He has been credited for influencing young white voters, because let's get it right, he might have a few Mexican voters from what my husband told me as well, because some people that he worked with say, oh, I listen to the guy all the time. And it's like, You do realize he wouldn't put you out if you were on fire with a spit, but okay. And I've listened to a few people that probably shouldn't have been on this man's side literally defend him, and it's mind-boggling to me. All I can do is crack it down to either self-hate or ignorance. Since his death, Kirk has been praised for how he engaged in political debate. It's not a debate when he just sits there, prove me wrong, and then argues and shouts people down, but what do I know? I was only a debater and loved doing so, especially in law and law classes. Sometimes I wonder if I had went into law instead of business, how different my life would have been, because I love arguing, obviously. And being praised for his in-your-face hatred, I can't fathom why. But I got an allegory that I'll hit y'all with in just a moment to show how ridiculous all of this is. Author Stephen King, which set me off enough to do a social media short on Blue Sky Spoutable, took back his tweet that he wrote, which was a direct quote of Charlie Kirk saying that he would stone the gays and that it should be a law. But because he was morally kidnapped into apologizing because, oh, it's too soon, from the people who literally mocked Nancy Pelosi's husband when he got attacked, who don't say a peep about the right-winger that killed 3 people. He attempted to kill another sit-in representative, and they survived. He killed a sit-in representative, her husband, and their dog in Minnesota. The day of Charlie Kirk's shooting, there was already a school shooting in Colorado, which he would have classified as an unfortunate side effect of an amendment that he wanted to protect wholeheartedly. But I'm supposed to find sympathy for this awful person's death. Get the fuck out of here with that. Author Stephen King received backlash online and issued an apology after saying in a post to Twitter, I'm not calling it his other name, that he advocated stoning gays to death, which he did. It wasn't wrong. Charlie Kirk said that and other horrible things to the LGBT and queer communities. Here are his most heinous comments about LGBTQ people. While criticizing YouTuber Miss Rachel for quoting Love Your Neighbor to defend, celebrate, and Pride Month, Charlie quoted a Bible verse justifying stoning gay people to death. He said, stoning is God's perfect law when it comes to sexual matters. This guy doesn't look like he knew how to get to a G-spot, even if he had a fucking map and a magnifying glass. But he and so many self-righteous people are always in other people's sexual business. It's ridiculous. I don't want to play his voice a lot at all. So I am hopefully going to bypass all of that and just keep to the actual facts. Come on. I don't want to watch on Twitter. Hit the expand. Kirk that's the Bible verse. There we go. Charlie Kirk blames trans people for inflation. There's a direct, oh my gosh, issue, which is not true at all. As somebody who majored in business, this is insane to me. There's a direct correlation between trans people and inflation. This is the ridiculousness that some people will justify ignoring because they want people to mourn. And that's not even the worst of it. I will get to the worst of what's been proposed soon, because I have a clip that I definitely want you all to hear and just see how ridiculous this all is getting as I paint this house. Because this house is an anti-bigoted house and it's blue, baby. Let's go to another disgusting thing this awful man has said. Because I think people really need to see him for who he is before they ask people to feel sorry for him. I can't. And I won't. And I won't let me be myself or anybody I care about be morally kidnapped into believing that we have to be nice to this man. While we're talking about flags, we should work to overturn every conviction for those arrested, fined, or otherwise harassed for the hate crime of doing donuts over pride flags painted on public streets. So, these are the same people that will defend the seditionist flag being flown. The flag that they tried to use to keep my ancestors as literal slaves. But a pride flag that doesn't hurt anybody, that gives people who used to have to hide who they were for their own safety the security of knowing they are with other people who support, love, and advocate for them. He wants people to not be charged with hate crimes for defacing that. And we're supposed to what? Feel sorry for him? I don't think so. He has gone on record attacking people who already spend their life dodging hate, and it makes no sense to me. And I don't mourn terrorists either, Red Baron. It is beyond ridiculous the way the news has been spinning his stuff. This article in Yahoo News shows the 14 things that, in real quotes, showing what he believed in. Because this was garbage. Number one, at a Turning Point USA event in 2023, 2 years ago, he said that he thinks gun deaths are worth it to have a Second Amendment. So when he died by his own rhetoric, that's called karma, folks. Let's see, I skipped number two, but it's fine. Appearing on the Jubilee internet show Surrounded, Kirk insisted black people were better in 1940 under Jim Crow law. As somebody whose grandparents lived through that, who literally had to deal with no coloreds and segregated everything, the fact that he can even fix his mouth to say it was better for my people back then is fucking ridiculous, but it's a lot of racist talking points. It's like Florida trying to justify that there were benefits to black people under slavery, which I wish a motherfucker would at this point. Because they're going to see a lot more of us act like Nat Turner instead of Martin Luther King. That's all I say to that nonsense. Second coat of blue, because a lot of times this bleeds through. You definitely have to do more than one coat on anything, whether it's the wood grain PLA or the color PLA with plastic type, because colors will go right through. But once the house is done, it is literally gonna pop. For real. I think what troubles me the most about people defending this man with his asinine takes is that they ignore this. Because it's somebody who justifies their bigotry, justifies their hateful attitudes, and it's gotta stop. During the same Jubilee episode, Kirk was asked what he want his daughter to do if she was 10 years old pregnant following an assault. Let's see what the asshole says. After calling the scenario graphic, he said yes, the baby would be delivered. Considering one of the things that had to be fought in, I believe, Illinois or Ohio, was the fact that an 11-year-old who was a victim was not going to be allowed to abort a baby, not realizing stress of labor, as somebody who went through it myself, does to a body, but to compound it with a child that young. He didn't care, because a lot of men like him only look at us women as broodmares. Yes, it infuriated me as well. I was just completely ticked off with that one. At a Turning Point USA event, he suggested trans people were wearing the gender equivalent of blackface. What the fuck does that even mean? A transgender person is a person born in a specific body that does not correlate with how they feel. It is a man who is born, well, not even a man, it is a being that is born with male body parts and realizes that those body parts do not represent who they feel internally. So they work to properly represent who they are. It is a biological conflict with somebody. It is when a person is born with female body parts that realizes this is not who I am. I might outwardly reflect a gender that I do not feel I am. And even as somebody who knows I am comfortable, content, and happy with the gender I was born into, I can understand that there are people that don't feel that way and that strive to represent themselves in the way they feel comfortable. And it takes no skin off my damn nose to accept and allow them to live their best lives. Do not add to the pylon that society tries to put upon them because, oh, we just don't understand why they're like this. But we won't take the time to understand either. We just pass judgment. And that kind of nonsense is inherently frustrating. Oh, I just touched the blue paint. Lovely. But stuff like this gets me so worked up. A man that calls himself trans is wearing a woman's face, no different than I would wear a black face trying to be a black person. And I guarantee you, if we look deep enough, we could probably find old Charlie in some blackface. Because bigots like that, they love doing shit like that. Let's go down. On his radio show, Kirk not only said that Joy Reid, Michelle Obama, Sheila Jackson Lee, and Ketanji Brown Jackson are affirmative action picks, never mind the fact that all of these women have more than enough accomplishments under their belt, unlike this West Point dropout, this literal military school dropout, who founded Turning Point with no accreditation under his belt. But he can question black women who have to work 3 times as hard to get not even a fraction of the recognition of this angry bigot. It is insanity to me. But this is the world we're in right now. Just full of nonsense by nonsense people. It irks me, but it's par for the course. This idiot said, Charlie Kirk said, black women do not have the brain, confidence, and power to be taken seriously. You have to go steal a white person's slot. Are you fucking kidding me? The whole reason we got into the fucking moon in the first place was the black women that they made that Hollywood movie Hidden Figures on. But you're telling me we don't have the brain capacity? Even the Ring doorbell that I have on my house is thanks to a woman in fucking Bronx in the 1960s who wanted a CCTV to stop people from breaking into our home. A lot of stuff that we use to take for granted because my people couldn't get patents back then were invented by black people. Charlie Kirk. But this isn't even the worst of it. Because I could go on and on with these articles, but I would much rather show, because I was going to do that Al Jazeera one, I would much rather show how other countries are viewing this ridiculousness. Because it's embarrassing at this point, the way we laud a person who is just evil. So we are going to load this YouTube video by the Industry Times to show that Indians, Muslims, and abortions. 6 minutes of Charlie Kirk's most explosive takes. And you can just hear for yourself this nonsense.
Actions, not just in the United States, but around the world. As the founder of Turning Point USA, his reach extended far beyond conservative youth politics, making him a recognizable voice in international debates on ideology, culture, and governance. His speeches and debates made him a central figure admired by supporters and challenged by critics. Now, his death is being seen globally as a chilling reflection of how polarized America's political climate has grown. Let's break down his remarks and the controversies that thrust him into the spotlight during one of the most polarized and volatile moments in American politics. Charlie Kirk often made inflammatory remarks about Indians. On September 2nd, he wrote on X, "America does not need more visas for people from India. Perhaps no form of legal immigration has so displaced American workers as those from India. Enough
Really?
already. We are full. Let's finally put our own people first." Again, on
Ridiculous.
September 5th, he claimed social media accounts were being paid to attack Trump's tariffs on India. He said, You have to wonder if this coordinated activity promoting the interests of India should trigger FARA registrations. Who is paying them and how much? We need answers.
And just to remind you that J.D. Vance's wife is from India. Just saying.
That same day, he praised Trump for considering a block on outsourcing to India. He wrote, President Trump is reportedly considering blocking American tech companies from outsourcing their work to Indian companies.
Ridiculous.
Good. Invest in this country first. He also reposted
America
another
first never
commentator
works.
accusing Indians of violating H-1B rules. Kirk added, I have just now heard about the illegal India payments to influencers. Tariff! Exclamation point.
And see, that's the thing. He will lie about stuff that you don't show any proof, but you'll lie and continue it. And then you got dum-dums that will mirror that lie. There is no proof that there is any illegal H-1 visas going on to India. But you got these people that will run with this because, oh, it sounds right. And we want to hate on this group. It's ridiculous. Exactly.
Kirk defended Israel during its war on Gaza. In July 2025, he wrote, No, Israel is not starving Gazans. That same month, he dismissed.
There is literal proof that Israel has unleashed things like blowing up, burning food supplies, and there have been millions who have died to the famine because of this. But don't let the truth get in the way of your fact fiction, bigots.
Missed images of starving children in Gaza as propaganda and emotional visual optical warfare.
Bullshit.
In 2023, he made sweeping remarks against Muslims. He said Muslims that run Hamas are not going to stop until they kill every single Jew on earth.
And what kills me is so many white supremacists are now acting like they're
Charlie
for
Kirk
Israel,
was a staunch defender of the U.S. Constitution's Second Amendment, to the extent that he justified Americans' deaths caused by gun violence. At a 2023 Turning Point USA Faith event, he said, I think it's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our other God-given rights. That is a prudent deal. It is rational.
Is it?
Ironically, his last words on stage also touched on gun violence. When asked about mass shooters, he countered, counting or not counting gang violence.
Wow. Well, you live by the gun and die by the gun. Oh God, here we go.
On September 8th, just days before his death, Kirk said on Fox News that young women do not value having children. This is one of the reasons we are seeing a fertility collapse.
Hey, there are way too many breeders in our country as it is. I've seen enough out here alone. People having 6, 7, 8 more kids. But younger people are starting to realize that being a parent is expensive. I have one. We were working on the second. Best believe everything I have to plan for my kid and any future kid is budgeted because it costs to raise a child properly. And if you don't have the funds, it could be a real struggle and your kid could go without. My child does not want for anything. Any future child would not want for anything. That's the way it should be as a parent. And younger people are starting to realize that it is not worth the effort. And to put it all on young women when there are plenty of young men that feel that way too is ridiculous.
In the West, he criticized women who voted for Kamala Harris, saying, young women who voted for Kamala Harris want careerism, consumerism, and loneliness.
Because I'm not lonely. I like making my own money. I'm sorry. Being dependent on somebody will get you in bad ways as a woman. So it is okay to me, any woman that wants to put a career first and foremost so that we have a financial safety net if things go awry. It is being smart. Because this world is not made to protect us. We have to learn to protect ourselves.
Loneliness. Trump voters, young men, they want family, children, and legacy.
And they're lonely because
in
they're
August,
a bunch of mean
he targeted
ass
Taylor
incels.
Swift and stated, submit to your husband, Taylor. You're
Ew.
not in charge.
Gross.
You've got to change your name.
She makes her own millions. Fuck you, Charlie Kirk. I hope you're roasted.
If not, you don't really mean it.
Disgusting. Here we go with this one.
Kirk identified as pro-life, with no exceptions. When
Fuck
asked
you.
what he'd do
Does
if his
he
underage daughter got pregnant.
Did he support the death penalty then? Because no No options, right? Fucker.
After rape, he replied. The answer is yes, the baby would be delivered.
Wow.
He called abortion a spiritual battle between good and evil and accused women of committing murder.
It is a literal choice that could save a woman's life. A choice that a child shouldn't ever have to make, but if they are put in that situation, they shouldn't have to go through the pain of labor just because their dad's a right-wing wackadoo.
On rape, he argued there was a gray area when alcohol is involved in consent.
There's no gray area. If a person does not consent, it doesn't matter how inebriated there is, they should not take advantage. There's no fucking gray area when it comes to sexual assault. Period.
Cases.
I can't even believe I have to say that in the year 2025.
In May 2025 at the Oxford Union, Kirk praised J.K. Rowling as a hero.
She's a piece of shit.
He added, "There's something sick and awful about chopping off a 14-year-old's breasts." At Kansas State University in 2024.
It amazes me how so many people try to be in trans people's business and yet do not even understand how selective and reassignment surgery works. They say things like, oh, chopping off a breast, chopping off body parts. That is not how that works at all. There are definitely videos showing how reassignment surgery even goes. And the fact that there are people out there still saying that a 14-year-old's getting their chest chopped off. What do you say to mastectomy people who have to literally remove their breasts because of cancer? Shut the fuck up. This is so ridiculous.
Said, transgenderism is a mental disorder.
It is not.
I want people suffering from transgenderism to get care.
Revised that to take all LGBTQ stuff off of their mental health thing. Thank you
In
very
January
much.
2024, Kirk said, "If I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified."
Because pilots don't have to go through rigorous training and certifications to get their license. I remember when this popped off on Twitter and I went all the way off, got into a back and forth with the asshole and blocked him. Because you don't argue with a pigeon. All they do is frustrate you and shit all over the place.
He slammed affirmative action as evil and blamed black communities for crime.
You should blame the white women that benefited the most from affirmative action. And there's crime everywhere. It is a poverty issue more than an ethnic issue.
He said, "The problem is blacks that kill themselves a lot.
You got killed by a white guy. What about that white-on-white crime, y'all?
Each other in inner cities. The failing government schools in inner cities." He added, "The problem is that black fathers abandon the women that they impregnate."
I'm trying to keep my blood pressure down. That old trope when a lot of us don't know what you're talking about, man. I just don't get it.
He also criticized Michelle Obama, Joy Reid, Sheila Jackson Lee, and Ketanji Brown Jackson. He said, "They do not have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously. You had to go..."
Reminder, he is legitimately a dropout. This motherfucker who did the bare minimum in his life, but was loud and hateful, criticizes women who graduated from established universities and made their lives better and those around them better. This is what I mean. This is why you will not morally kidnap me out of calling this motherfucker a motherfucker and saying that karma did to him what he wanted.
Steal a white person's slot.
Nobody's stealing
In 2021,
anything.
He described George Floyd as a scumbag and unworthy of public attention.
I throw that insult right back at you. You are a scumbag and you're unworthy of public attention. And now you're gone.
Charlie Kirk's death has silenced his voice, but his words remain. From his attacks on immigrants and minorities, to his views on guns and women, his rhetoric shaped fierce debates in America.
Not fierce debates, it emboldened bigots who are still running and getting mad that people aren't all up in arms and tears over this hateful, awful man. It's mind-boggling.
Allegations continue. His legacy is being revisited through the controversies he left behind.
Legacy. A legacy of hate. It's beyond ridiculous, and it's frustrating at this point. But even worse, we had a sitting congresswoman decide that they want a special thing for Mr. Kirk. So we're going to play this quick TikTok that was shared on Spoutable from Thomas Bishop the Villain. He's also got a channel here on YouTube. Very passionate man. His TikTok is blown up because he is very in your face about right and wrong. I don't always agree with him. And that is the way it should be. I'm sure he doesn't always agree with me either. Our politics can be on the same vein from time to time, but he has more kind of like socialism leans that I just don't personally get with, because I don't believe that socialism can work in our country. I've seen how democratic socialism could work in other countries, but they do not have the same ethnic background struggles as America. So him and I would clash on some things, but we tend to align on harm reduction and other things that will help all communities in America. So when I seen this video, I was like, oh, I'm sharing this because people need to see how ridiculous this awful man's death has made people. So we're going to fire this one up, and then we're going to get to chatting about this because it is beyond ridiculous at this point, the way people are lauding and trying to make this man into a martyr. So here we go.
I am pissed the fuck off.
Same.
There's no other way to say this. I am pissed the fuck off. There is a race for the most useless congressperson in America today.
Yep.
In the U.S. Congress. But I think there may be a winner in this shit because Nancy Mace just put out a resolution to have Charlie Kirk lie in state in the Capitol Rotunda.
Which is ridiculous. Nancy Mace should be ashamed of herself, but
Charlie Kirk lie in state in the Capitol fucking Rotunda.
Mm-hmm.
The Capitol Rotunda, where presidents have lain in state, where congressmen have laid in state, where senators have laid in state, where Rosa Parks laid in state. And now Charlie Kirk. One of these things is not like the other.
Mm-hmm.
One of these things is different. And I'm going to tell you right now, at this stage of the game, if you have anything to say about my fucking military career, I'm going to invite you to put on a Speedo and a swim cap, find the tallest diving board you can, do 3 jumps, do a fucking triple Lindy, and come drown in this dick. That is what I'm going to tell you to do.
Yep.
Because there's no fucking way in hell you're going to tell me that Charlie fucking Kirk deserves to lie in state in the fucking Capitol Rotunda.
He does not.
I'ma say it. Fuck it. He gone. I don't give a fuck.
Same.
He is a West Point dropout.
Mm-hmm.
He could not handle community fucking college.
Yep.
And he dropped out. There was nothing there was nothing special about this motherfucker.
At all.
Turning Point USA is basically the Heritage Foundation for kids.
Yep. Romper room.
Nothing Turning Point USA ever did made anything in life better. It simply added to the bullshit we already got.
Exactly.
And that motherfucker's gonna lie in state. In the Capitol Rotunda. But somehow, I hate America. Really? Do I?
Trust me,
Do
they're gonna
I?
say I hate things too.
Because
and
I
don't give a
served this
fuck.
bitch. He didn't. When my body and mind could no longer take it, I got out. What the fuck has he ever done in his entire fucking 31 years of existence to lie in state in the Capitol fucking Rotunda? What?
He was a big bigot, and he's got a bunch of people who support bigotry behind him. There's no other way to put it. And there are going to be some people, no, he just made a lot of sense with his sexism, racism, homophobia. It spoke to me, but I don't want to be classified as racist. I love everybody. I don't want to talk about politics because it makes me uncomfortable. But I can watch and support somebody like this who literally stoke divides. for no reason besides he's a mediocre, was a mediocre motherfucker who only good deed was taking that bullet last Wednesday. I'm saying it. I don't give a fuck.
What? And knowing that good old Mike Johnson will just swear off and sign off on anything, that motherfucker's gonna sit in state in the fucking Capitol Rotunda.
Which is beyond ridiculous.
You cannot love America and then put a divisive piece of shit in the Capitol Rotunda. Mm-hmm. You can't. Sorry.
Agree.
Because that's disrespectful. That's disrespectful. When George Herbert Walker Bush died, he laid in state. When Jimmy Carter died, he laid in state. When Ronald Reagan died, he laid in state. When Gerald Ford died, he laid in state. When Richard Nixon died, he laid in state.
And all of those men had more accomplishments in their fucking pinky than this Charlie Kirk asshole. Just saying.
Every president that we have had since that damn thing was built has laid there in state. Every dead U.S. senator, every passed away U.S. congressperson.
Even Jim Baker was I believe the press secretary for Reagan.
And now Charlie Kirk.
Jim Brady, who got the Brady bill because he was almost
and MAGA don't see a problem with this.
Yep.
And MAGA don't see a fucking problem with this.
Because they are a problem.
Because they love freedom, love liberty, love fucking catchphrases. They love catchphrases. I don't give a fuck. They love catchphrases. Mm-hmm. But the actual idea of respect for this country, nah. Fuck out of here.
Because it's all an act. It's a cosplay.
Fuck out of here.
Patriotic cosplay.
And you do nothing, never did anything, motherfuckers have the audacity, the gall even, to call into question everything I have done for my country.
Which drives me nuts. If you did not serve, you need to sit the fuck down and shut the fuck up.
Blow me.
Exactly.
Blow me. I mean that sincerely and with the most hatred I can get my fucking hands on.
Second. If
Charlie Kirk can lie in state, and I'm saying this right now, so can I. So can Jolly Good Ginger, U.S. Army Overlord, USMC Angry Veteran, Big Red Celt. All of the TikTokers that y'all hate so fucking much because you think they don't love the country, but have served this bitch, every one of us should be allowed to lie in state in the Capitol Rotunda. Since everybody can be in there now.
Exactly. 2 grandfathers and a father who served in major wars. None of them laid in state. I got letters thanking them for their service after they died. I've got flags that I got framed for their service. But this bigot who did nothing in 31 years except for fail upwards, perhaps will lie in the rotunda. Because right now they're just doing little memorials, which his big old buddy Trump didn't even want to attend, went golfing instead. Make whatever you will with that one.
Why don't you put some people in there that actually fucking did something?
Exactly.
I loathe you people. I do. Every day I wake up realizing I got to share a fucking planet with you. Mm-hmm. I do. And then you have the fucking gall, the goddamn gall, to try to tell us how much you love this fucking country, you star-spangled bitch-ass motherfuckers. Charlie Kirk doesn't deserve to lie in state.
No, he does not.
And this is if the wife will allow it. If she lets that man lay in state in the Capitol fucking Rotunda after we gave $5 million to a bitch, to the family of a bitch who climbed her stupid ass through a fucking window and got popped. Oh, and by the way, she's getting a full military funeral.
Which makes no sense. She's a seditionist. You don't give seditionists
after them two, don't fucking say shit to me about what I did while I served. I could have been a fucking short order cook for 9 months in Afghanistan. Bitch, you can't say shit to me.
Exactly.
Because you let that fucker lie in state. So now you can lie on these nuts. Fuck, I hate this fucking place.
And that was Thomas the villain, Bishop, expressing exactly how I feel about all of this, because it is beyond ridiculous at this point. It is insulting at this point to have somebody who literally represented hate, whose whole stick was hating on people, and everybody's acting brand new. Everybody's acting like this is okay, and it's not okay. And I want to put it in this perspective, because this Turning Point USA motherfucker is far from the only controversial yet popular figure out there. And I was thinking about this analogy earlier, because I think some people think, well, they're a celebrity, we should respect them, blah, 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 famous. No. I have a very good example of somebody who, when he dies, I'm going to be fucking celebrating because he was a fucking predator. Old America's dad, Bill Cosby. The man who assaulted over 60 fucking women, who I had to hear people from my own community say, well, maybe they just want a payday. 60 fucking women wanted a payday. 60 fucking women would risk their reputation going after a man who was that beloved. But this was the asinine shit that I had to listen to as somebody who is a survivor myself, from people who should have known better. And when I say this beyond pissed me off, but what could you do? Because our community will back trash as long as they're famous trash. But bide your time for when this motherfucker dies, so that people who really can't speak right now can finally have a voice to say all the awful things that they went through with him. I would be fucking pressed if they let that motherfucker lay in the Capitol Rotunda, but I guarantee you he won't. And it's not because he was America's dad, or he doesn't deserve to be. It is because of his identity, his ethnic identity, that you won't have anybody, especially in the GOP, suggesting it. And if a Dem even tried, our side would fucking crucify them, literally. So when I think of Charlie Kirk, who wasted 31 years of his existence being harmful and hateful to others, potentially laying in state in a Capitol Rotunda, an honor reserved for dignitaries, accomplished politicians, former presidents, and actual social and civil rights heroes, I'm not even mad. I'm not shocked anymore, because there is no bottom anymore. There never probably was. We have literally given this country over to hateful, destructive people. So we can't be shocked that they want to do shit like this, that they want to elevate shit like this, that they can turn on blinders to the horrible, hateful things this man has said and promoted because it resonates with them for some reason. And heaven forbid those of us who say, hey, this is not okay. Hey, this is not safe for us to live under. Hey, you say that we're family, we're friends. How can you in the same breath, or even coworkers, support somebody that fundamentally wants to see us dead for our existence, who ignore the statistics that say half the shit, if not all of the shit he said about ethnic groups, minorities, and women are wrong, that can be verifiably proven as a liar for a lot of his rhetoric? It's okay to morally kidnap people in the morning and get upset and get people fired because you don't like the fact that a lot of us just saying what we all pretty much think. This was karma. This was his own self-inflicted karma. He said that to protect the Second Amendment, gun deaths were an unfortunate necessity, and now he's gone via gun death. You can't get more ironic than that. And to me, it couldn't have happened to a more deserving person because of the harmful, hateful rhetoric that he continued to put out there that will live beyond his shitty legacy. So if you're a person right now who will watch this cast, listen to me go off, get mad because I compared him to Bill Cosby, who was also a very harmful person, If you are that person right now who want to say, well, that's not fair, Tim. What if it happens to you? It could potentially happen to any of us. People who were shopping at Tops Grocery, they weren't expecting to go in and die because some little white ring nut job at 18 decided to throw his whole life away over hatred because some foreign bar that he frequented suggested that he go on and do it. Nobody who sends their kids to school and gets the call that there was a school shooting and that they're going to have to put their baby in a coffin instead of a cap and gown want that. Nobody who goes to concerts, movie theaters, state fairs, or any other religious gathering, whether it's a church, synagogue, or mosque, want to go there and be gunned down in their own fucking country. But here we are. And Charlie Kirk is one of the most biggest proponents of that happening, and he died at a rally. You can't get more karmic than that. And if this upsets you and offends you, yet you were one of the fuckers that made jokes about Nancy Pelosi's husband, who I am not a fan of Nancy Pelosi, by the way. Not one bit after the Judas Caucus. But I can at least see how wrong it is to have some nut job break into your house and literally club an elderly man to near death. Or the representative, Miss Melissa, in Montana, and her husband and her dog who died. Those victims of the Colorado high school shooting that just happened on the same day as this motherfucker. The Pulse nightclub shooting. The Aurora Theater shootings. Marjorie Stoneman Douglas. Sandy Hook. And so many others that you would lose fucking track trying to keep up with all the fucking school shootings in our country. The daily killing of women who are just trying to get out of domestic violence situations. And yes, to his legacy, even the violence amongst gang members. Because I'm not stupid enough to act like gang members don't happen. But he acts like it only happens in those areas instead of poor areas all around America. The fact of the matter is, like my grandfather taught me when I held my first gun, this is not a toy. When you use it for its intended purpose to kill people. And so many people still treat guns like toys. Still treat the issue as if it's just a clear issue of right versus wrong. A good guy with a gun versus a bad guy with a gun. Instead of an unstable system that has bred people to believe that they could get an AR-15 and shoot up wherever the fuck they want. So no, I will not mourn. I will not be morally kidnapped into mourning somebody who wanted this and got exactly what he pushed for. Nor do I accept that people have to worry about their jobs when they make a thing saying, I felt sorry for the bullet. It is infuriating to me. The double standard of people who want to be openly awful to people that don't look like them, worship like them, or act the way they want us to act. And to put this motherfucker on an undisturbed pedestal when he's a little dropout who failed upwards is why I just refuse. I refuse to fall in the line. I refuse to let society morally kidnap us into elevating this morally bankrupt, now dead person. My only hope is that if there is a definitive afterlife, that he and I will never ever cross paths when I cross over. And I don't care if he's roasted below or in some weird bigot paradise up above. As long as I never have to share the same existence with that motherfucker, that'll make me happy. And if this saying, if my passion against calling his nonsense out offends you, good. Because that's what this cast was about, along with painting. And I promise you, I'm not done with this. But I will more than likely show you the finished model on Friday. I do intend to be back on Friday, barring any family obligations. And as you can see, I'm still a little nasally, but it is clearing up. Once I'm done with the base and roof, I am going to take the tape off, do the windows, the trim, and the roof chimney. But until then, y'all, I want you to take care. If you do not feel morally kidnapped by this man's death, do not feel bad. You are not alone. We have got to stop elevating awful people just because they allow bigots to feel comfortable in their hatred. Allow racists to get away and feel like they can be safe saying awful things. And there's no reason to celebrate an awful man or cheer an assassination, but there's absolutely no reason for me to act like this man was worthy of anything but a shrug at this point. And if you don't agree with that, feel free to disagree. I don't give a fuck. I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you, Red Baron, for sitting in on this chat. We will be back on Friday with more 3D models, maybe a little Smitty, because I still want to print that garden gnome. I just been printing other things for the shop and everything else. But other than that, y'all, I really hope that you have a great week, and I will see you Friday afternoon for another Kraft&Chat with Kalari. Have a good one.